game show with you guys. And the way that we're going to play this, I'm going to tell you some things about owls. And it might be true, it might be false. If what I'm saying is true, what I want you guys to do, when we think of owls, I'm just going to get a picture of one here for us to look at. The first thing I notice when I see an owl are those giant eyes that they use to look for and to find things. So when I have you guys vote, if you think that what I'm saying is true about an owl, I want you to give yourself really big eyes so you can make yourself some binoculars. And this is a vote for true. Josh is telling me truth. If you think that what I'm saying about owls is false, we'll be our normal selves. We'll put our owl eyes away and just be us. So true, owl eyes, false, normal human. All right, so here we go with our first statement about owls. My first one is owls are able to move their eyes. Owls can move their eyes. What do you think? Is that true or false? I'm seeing, it looks like about half think owls can move their eyes, and it looks like we have two that say owls can't move their eyes. The two who voted for false are right. Owls can't move their eyes, and that's why we see their heads move so much. So when you see an owl, like if I want to look up at the ceiling, I'm doing it. The floor, I just move my eyes. My head hasn't moved at all. For an owl, there's the ceiling, there's the floor, left, right. They're always bobbing their head all around because they have to do that in order to see. I'm going to show you guys an owl skeleton right now. This is an owl's skull. And what I want you guys to look at is the bones that go all around the eyes. You see how that like forms a tube that goes way back into the skull? I know, kind of weird. They're called eye tubes, but that's why an owl can't move its eyes and always has to move its head around in order to see. Just a neat thing about owls. Okay, here's our next statement. Owls can turn their head 270 degrees. So for me, this is forward. There's a 270-degree rotation. What do you think? True or false? I see a bunch of trues and a couple falses. This one is true, and what's really neat about this, some people say owls can spin their head in a whole circle. They kind of can and kind of can't. So they can do that 270 degrees, but what's neat is that means that if I'm facing forward, if I was an owl, I could bend my head all the way back to here, but then I could spin back to forward and then go all the way back to here. So for an owl turning its head, I'm going to do the full rotation from wound all the way around one way, all the way the other. Kind of crazy. So it's going like over 360 degrees, but they can only turn a little bit of that. How about this for a statement? Owls use their eyes to help them hear. Owls use their eyes to help them hear. We've got some trues, some falses. Believe it or not, this one's true. So that facial disc, the side of an owl's face, they're actually able to move that a little bit, and they use that to like deflect sound back to their ears. So an owl can actually move its eyes and its face, kind of like a saucer or a dish, to get the sound back to their ears where they need it. All right, one more on ears, and maybe two more. Here's our next statement. Owls have crooked ears. Owl ears are crooked. They don't line up on their heads. What do you think? Do they have crooked ears? I see some trues and falses. I'm seeing a lot more on trues, and believe it or not, owl ears are crooked. So they're at slightly different heights. And have you guys ever heard of triangulating a location? So to find 3 points, what an owl does, having those ears in different spots, they hear things at just slightly different times, and it helps them find the things like mice they want to eat under the snow. Okay, how about this one? Mice are safe from owls underneath deep snow. Mice are safe from owls underneath deep snow. Well, I see no one believes that this one's true. That's excellent. Owls can hear great. They can hear a mouse moving under 3 feet of snow, figure out right where it is with their slightly crooked ears, hearing things at different times, and swoop down and to get their next meal. All right, here's our next statement. A group of owls is called a parliament. A group of owls is called a parliament. Is that true or false? We've got a lot of falses and one sort of true. Let's give it to the sort of true. So a group of owls is called a parliament. What's kind of strange with this is owls don't like to be in groups very often, so you're unlikely to ever bump into a parliament or a group of owls. Next statement, a group of, a parliament, which is a group of owls, comes from the Harry Potter books. I'm seeing all falses. That is false. Here's our next statement. The name Parliament, when we talk about owls, comes from the Narnia books, or The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. All falses, believe it or not, that one's true. Who would have thought? It actually got its name from a children's book. Only a few more, guys, and we'll move on to our next thing. Owls' wings make a lot of noise when they fly. I'm seeing all false, one true now. So owls are capable of almost silent flight. They have some really neat adaptations we'll talk about later that help them move through the air completely silently despite how big they are. Okay, how about this one? Owls have hollow bones to make them light enough to fly. Owls have hollow bones. I'm seeing mostly true. Excellent. So owls' bones are filled with air. They're hollow, just like the air they fly through. It makes them light enough to fly. How about, do you have a question there? You'll have to unmute yourself.
It's not technically a question, but for like, I don't really know, we should go like that.
Sounds good. I like undecided, single owl eye. We'll go with that. Our next statement is going to be owls use their beaks to catch prey. Owls use their beaks to catch prey. We've got kind of a half true. I'm seeing lots of false, and I'm really happy to see that. A lot of people think that since they have this nice sharp beak, that an owl would use that to catch their prey. If you think of me as an owl and this is my beak and I'm 50 feet up in the air in a tree and I want to get a mouse on the ground, I don't want to fly into that nose first as fast as I can go. I'm going to hurt myself. So what do owls and raptors use to catch their prey? They use their talons. Great. Okay, just two more, guys. Our second to last is barn owls eat over 1,000 mice a year. Barn owls eat 1,000 mice a year. That one is true. They eat a whole lot of rodents, and that's why they're so at home on farms. Our last true false before we move on is owls chew their food. The owls chew their food? True? False. They don't. So owls, like all birds, have a beak and there's no teeth inside there. So an owl will use that beak to do some tearing or cutting, but will not actually chew their food. They swallow it whole, leading to those owl pellets that we'll get into dissecting in just a little bit. So the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to go through a really quick PowerPoint presentation with you guys that's just going to show a couple of our native owls. Can everyone see our screen now? Okay. I'm going to go through this really quick. Ideally, I want you guys to know what owls we have locally and to know some of their noises. On the left-hand side here in the hand, we have an elf owl, which is the smallest type of owl there is. And on the right is a Eurasian eagle owl, which is the world's largest owl, depending on what you're measuring. So there's our little elf owl. You'll notice a nice V in between the eyes, which seems pretty common on a lot of dwarf owls. And these cute little guys live out west and tend to nest in cactuses. Now we have the great gray owl, which is definitely the longest in length. Very tall owl. This, again, is the Eurasian eagle owl, which should be the largest in weight. They can clock in at over 5 pounds. And this is a type of owl that can actually capture small deer to give you an idea of the size and strength of some of these creatures. So I mentioned that owls are capable of flying completely silently. And this is a close-up of an owl wing. And one of the things that's really neat about their wing are these little ruffles or ridges on the leading edge of the wing. So you can see these little bumps or serrations. And what that does is it makes it, if I flap paper, you'll get a flap from the wind leaving that edge. All of those little things are like silencers and allow the owl to fly silently. And again, at the back of the wing, you'll have those same little bumps that break up the air and make them fly silently. I showed you guys that the fixed giant eyes in an owl. One of the things that is neat with an owl's eyes is that they can see things so far away, but tend not to be able to see things right in front of their face. So as they get closer, they need to rely on their other senses, like their crooked ears, in order to hear things. So I had you guys kind of hold up by binoculars to vote true. The reason I did that is because when you do that, like an owl, you have to move your head in order to see because you have fixed eyes, but it also just has you focus on the area you can see with both eyes. And when you can see with something with both eyes at the same time, you can tell depth and texture, how far away that thing might be. For an owl that's a hunter, they have that really big right in front of them, and off to the sides, that monocular vision, they can't see quite as well. So this next one's neat because it shows us on man, we have this section on humans where we can see in binocular vision, and that lighter color is where we can see on the sides where things might try to sneak up on us. So we have pretty good protection. An owl, it doesn't have as much vision on its sides, and it doesn't have as much right in front of it. But remember, it can turn its head super far around to make up for it. And as a hunter, an owl really just needs to worry on what it needs to catch. Now, the one all the way to the right is a pigeon. And what's really fun about that, pigeons need to worry about everything, and their eyes are on the sides of their heads. So they can see almost all the way in back of them, but they can't see things really well right in front of them. But since they're eating mainly seeds on the ground, their food isn't moving. So they don't have to worry about keeping an eye on their food as much as keeping an eye out on everything else to make sure they don't become food. Okay. These things on top of the owl's head are called ear tufts. Those aren't actually its ears, they're just decoration. The ears, it actually be, remember, crooked, and they kind of line up with the eyes, just like our ears. If you draw a line back from your eye, you'll be right about your ear. A close-up of the talons that they use to catch prey. A fun thing with them, this third toe is capable of, ooh, there's my laser pointer. This third toe can actually bend back to this position, so they end up with like a 2x2 vise for grabbing their prey. On this one, remember, owls don't have teeth. They're using that beak to tear things, and they can't see things right in front of their face very well. And you'll notice all of these little feathers that surround the beak, and those help the owl sense the things that they're touching when they're too close to see. And I should point out that on the owl's talon, all of those really fine feathers do the same thing. They help the owl to feel a little bit better, much like whiskers. One other awesome trick owls have up their sleeve is camouflage. So this is an eastern screech owl that's well camouflaged in a cavity. So a lot of owls like nesting in hollowed out sections of trees. So dead trees are really important to nesting owls. Here's another example of a snag or a dead tree. And if you look really close, you can just see an owl sticking its head up, and that is perfect nesting location for one of these owls. And I should mention that right now, February is prime nesting time for most of our owl species. Since we're talking about nesting, we've got to show some baby owls because they're cute and they have a cute name. They're called owlets, which I just like saying. And these are baby barred owlets, which is the most common type of owl we have at Dyke and Pond. These guys are really at home in deep, heavy woods. These guys were too cute not to include, and they are baby great horned owls. A really fun thing happens in the spring when owlets leave their tree cavities. They become something called branchers for a few weeks, where they just hang out on branches near the tree where they were originally born. So I'm going to go through a couple of the most common types of owls in our area and play a few of their calls, and then we'll move on and you guys can turn me into an owl. So the first owl's the barred owl. And again, most common at Dyke and Pond. This one has these beautiful black eyes and a yellowish beak. It gets its name from the lines on it. So if you look on the throat here, it appears to have bars going back and forth. And again, on the chest, it's kind of some vertical bars going up and down. These guys are around year round, so you can hear them all the time. And this is my favorite owl because its call, which I'm going to play for you guys in 1 second, sounds like, "Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you all?" See if you can hear words to go along with this. Who cooks for you all? One more. Okay, and my favorite thing with owls is that you can actually copycat owls and get them to kind of start an argument with you. So if you've ever had anyone just repeat everything you say when you finish saying it, it gets annoying and you want them to stop. So you probably ask them strongly to, "Hey, cut it out." And owls will do the same thing. So all I want you to get from this is if you hear an owl calling in the summertime, repeat it. Try and start an argument with that owl. It's a really fun thing to do camping. And at my house, we've actually gotten one of these owls, a barred owl, to come in and land on our porch in the summertime. Now, there's a few times a year when owls call a lot, and they're the spring and the fall, with spring really starting kind of right now for owls. And the one thing I'd ask you guys not to do, since owls are busy setting up nests and having babies right now, we don't want to start any arguments with them until they're done having babies. So I try to only pick fights with owls in the spring and fall and leave them alone a bit in the winter. Okay, this next just gives you year-round range, which you'll see we are right in the middle of. A couple other types of owls. We've got our great horned owl, which is one of the larger, more common owls around here. They really like open areas. You're more likely to them around farm country than in the backwoods, but they are a pretty prominent owl, and I'm going to give you their call. So just a series of who's. And one fun thing I should point out before we move on owls, when you hear a pair, so a male and a female calling back and forth, the male will have a lower voice and the female higher. So if you listen closely, you can actually tell where the female and where the male are calling from the tone of their voices. Okay, so great horned owl, there's its range all over the US. And this is one of my other favorites. So our eastern screech owl. I love this picture because they're in a nice nest cavity, and it shows the two color morphs of these. So you can have kind of this reddish brown or a gray color, and they're the same bird. They just appear very different. This is an owl you're most likely to find in forests with lots of these hollowed out trees, and they do like to be close to water. So an area like Dike and Pond might be a good one to look. Again, a very common owl in the eastern US, and as you might guess, there is a western variety that'd fill in the other end of that map. All right. One of my favorites, the Sawwet Owl, which is our dwarf owl, really small. They hide in tiny little cavities, and they're almost impossible to see even when they're on a branch because they're so small and camouflage so well. Again, this one will have a little V between the eyes, and what I love about this bird, its call sounds like a saw being sharpened, which is where they say it got its name. So this is our northern Sawwet owl. Okay, there's our range. Our snowy owl, which would just be in the area this time of year, so you'll only see this one in the winter. Very low, raspy sound. Beautiful picture of a bit more mottled snowy owl. And as you can see in this one, they only come down in the middle of winter. Okay, I think I'm actually going to end with our barn owl. Looking at time, these really like to nest in man-made locations like barns, sheds. They really like being in wide open areas where they can catch those 1,000+ mice that they'll eat in a year. And their call is kind of terrifying. I am going to skip back because I realized that our eastern screech owl sound, which is one of my favorites. People tend to panic when they hear this one camping. Some people think it sounds like a ghost. Others say it sounds a lot like a horse. I like the happy medium. I think it sounds like a ghost horse. See what you guys think. Ghost horse. All right.
Ghost horse.
We've got agreement on ghost horse for that one.
Ghost horse.
Okay. So this is my second favorite part of the program. So we're going to take everything that you guys learned so far about owls, and ordinarily I'd like to dress one of you up as an owl, but since we can't all be together, you have the pleasure of watching me transform into an owl based on your suggestions. So think of that true false game and the things that we just talked about going through that little PowerPoint. What do I need to be an owl? And feel free to unmute yourselves. And I'm gonna call on someone with a quiet raised hand or something. Okay, I see. Go ahead and unmute yourself. And
You need to have like crooked ears like this.
Okay, perfect. So to start out with, I need to have crooked ears. Now that one's hidden underneath all of my my feathers on the side of my face. So we're gonna pretend my beard hair and these are feathers, and that my crooked ears are hidden underneath there. So to start out with, I've got crooked ears so I can hear things at different times. What else do I need to be an owl? I'm kind of cold.
Wings.
Okay, I need wings to be an owl. Fantastic. I have a set of barred owl wings back here. So we'll just get those so you can get a good look. I want to get this front close to the camera so that maybe there we can see those fringes that make it so that I can fly silently. All right, so I have crooked ears and I have wings. What else do I need to turn myself into a bird? How about the Roberts there? You'll have to unmute yourself.
You need still eyes.
Okay, I need fixed eyes. I can't move my eyeballs, and let's see here. I've got just the thing. Okay, so I'm gonna put on my special glasses. They block my eyesight with these giant eyeballs so that I have to move my head in order to see things. So I've got crooked ears, I've got wings and fixed eyeballs, which we're just gonna do this for a little bit. What else?
You need a beak.
I do need a beak, absolutely. You guys are gonna make me put on all the hard stuff first, aren't you? All right. So I see your beak. So now I have a beak, crooked ears, fixed eyes, and I've got some wings, which I left back there. That's okay though. So what else do I need to turn myself into a bird or into an owl?
Feathers.
Okay, I need feathers. So all birds, and an owl's a type of bird, have feathers. So let's see here. I give myself a couple feathers, maybe one here, one here. All right, I'm feathered up. I'm staying nice and warm. All right, what else do I need? Man, it's been a long winter. I've been eating chocolate chip cookies like tomorrow is gone. I put on so much weight. I do not think I'm going to be able to take to the air. Could you guys help me get lighter so maybe I can fly around? What are the Roberts got there? I see an excited hand. What you got? Go ahead and unmute, guys. I know you know how to make me lighter.
Well, our bones or hollow bones.
Yeah, I've got to lose all that cookie weight and give myself some bones filled with air. Absolutely. So I can't actually do that to myself, but I do have these great tubes that are gonna give me nice hollow bones so I'm light enough to fly. I feel like I'm getting there. I do still have some goodies back there though. What else do I need? How about the tubs?
You need claws.
Right, so owls, they don't fly in beak first, they fly in with their claws or talons, which are what birds of prey have. And as luck would have it, I have one of those as well. So this is a barred owl's talon. I'm just gonna go ahead and maybe put this down by my foot for now, put it in place right where it'd belong if I was a real owl, which I almost am at this point. So I've got crooked ears, fixed eyes, a beak, I've got wings, hollow bones, feathers. What else do I need? We did talk a bit about baby owls. Where do baby owls come from? Down one? Down bottom?
A nest?
Tree.
Oh, perfect. You guys teamed it. So I heard nest in a tree. So normally when we do owls or when we do birds, we talk about how birds make a nest. So owls make nests, but they make their nests in trees and normally just kind of in a hole of a tree. So I'm just gonna go over to my wood stove, grab a piece of firewood, and this will be my tree nest since I couldn't get a big enough piece of firewood in here with a hole in it. So we'll just make pretend that's a little cavity that an owl could nest in. So now I've got my tree nest as well. What am I gonna do in there? What am I gonna do inside my tree nest? I see one hand up. Go for it.
You need camouflage.
Okay, I need camouflage, so that's great. The color of the tree and all of these kind of cool patterns on my feathers are gonna help me blend in and camo really well. And one of the things that I can do if I get a little bit worried, I'll just stop moving and be really still and you won't see me at all until I start moving around again. What else?
A mate?
A what?
Meat?
Oh, I need some meat, something to eat. Absolutely. I'm going to fly off when we're done and get a snack, but I want to finish up with you guys before we do that one.
I said a mate.
Oh, a mate. Absolutely. So that'll actually bring us to our two last things. So I didn't cover this, but all birds and owls are no exception are born from hard-shelled eggs. So I do need an egg to go in my little tree nest over here. And in order to get a mate, the last thing that owls need is a voice. So all birds, owls, one of them communicate with calls. Since I'm turning into a barred owl, my voice will be, who cooks for you? Who cooks for you all? But that's not how you do it. You have to, whoo, 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 whoo. You have to get a little weird at the end, just like a barred owl. Have to have fun with it. So just to go over it all, I have my owl voice. I have fixed eyes. I have my tree nest with my hard-shelled egg. I'm covered in feathers. I have hollow bones, fixed eyes, a beak, and what else? I also have wings and talons. So thank you guys for helping me transform into an owl. Our last part of the day is going to be actually dissecting an owl pellet. So here's where we get to have some fun.
What I was gonna just what I was gonna say. Now what are we gonna do with this and this?
we are going to do one of those things. So to start out with, in those little bags, you're going to have all types of materials. You'll find a pine cone, some colored popsicles, cotton, googly eyes, and that's so that you guys can make one of these later on if you want to. So I gave you some craft materials just so you guys can be creative and make whatever you want later on. And there's instructions of how to put this together. You guys are awesome crafters. I've seen a lot of your creations at fair. I'm pretty sure even without instructions, you guys are gonna make a nicer snowy owl than me. Since I did make a snowy owl though, I thought ours should have skis, and there is a little piece of wire. So if you want, you can put wire to that top part, and these make a great ornament. You can just hang by a window or save for the holidays. I also put a mask in there that's really just to color and cut out. Just something, if you want to do it, I wanted you to have them. But for our project today, the things that you're really going to need to dissect the owl pellet, you should have a piece of black construction paper in there. And that's what you're going to use as kind of a placemat or tablecloth, because the bones are white, they stand up really well on that dark paper. Now, the other thing you'll need is your owl pellets. So that's that little foil wrapped oval. And for anyone who wasn't here at the start of the presentation, so owls have to swallow their food whole. They don't digest the fur and bones and have to cough those things up in something called an owl pellet. So that's what these little foil wrapped treasures are, or owl pellets. And I was asked if you need gloves to do this. And the short answer is no. These pellets have been completely sterilized. So they've been soaked in hand sanitizer and put through an oven to kill any germs and bacteria on them. So your hands won't get dirty from touching the owl pellet. You'll actually get my clean owl pellets dirty with your hands, believe it or not. That said, if you don't want to touch them, that's why we have two little toothpicks in there as well. They're what really help you to pick that pellet apart. Now you also have a chart in there that should look something like this, that has all the different types of bones that you might find on it. And if you look at my screen, I'm just going to highlight one bone that I really like to find. Do you guys see that one that looks kind of like a lacrosse stick? That lacrosse stick's a hip bone, and that's one of my challenges for you guys to find. My other is a skull. Ooh, everything's backwards. So you'll see that rodent skull there. Almost everyone should have one rodent skull inside that pellet. Try to find them. And this is an extension activity, guys, because it takes about 2 hours. But if someone wants to go really crazy, you can actually use this chart and put together the entire skeleton. Okay, I'm actually just going to change my computer angle a bit here so I can get an owl pellet down where you guys can kind of see it. And again, you're just going to want to use your fingers and the two toothpicks that I put in there. And you want to just pull things apart as gently as you can. So it's a slow process. I see some guys getting their medical gear on, going to be all set, ready to dissect.
Do you want gloves?
Please.
So I've got my pellet and I'm noticing this big crack right down the middle. So that's where I'm going to start picking it apart. Nice little natural line.
Oh, what is that?
So this reminds
I found
me.
something.
You found something?
Yep.
What's it look like? And remember, you can hold bones up to your camera if you need help IDing them, But before you do that, try to use the bone chart that's on there, and you'll find all types of neat things in there.
Will you get the thing that you're saying?
Oh, I don't know. I just thought it was a leaf, but I think that's a nail.
And you will find the tiniest little things. So if you look on mine, I've got this little tiny curved bone there. I think that's one of the ribs.
Mm-hmm.
Is this something?
Yep, I think those are ribs, actually.
What about these little bones right here?
Not sure.
I'm not sure what those things are. I'm just gonna scooch them to the side.
Hey. Yeah.
Has anyone found a skull yet?
I forget what skull looks like. Will you get me the paper for this day?
I have.
Got a skull?
Yep.
What is it? I forgot what the skull.
My found a skull.
Oh yeah, I think you did.
Found like the whole entire like teeth.
I found a bone.
I found both of the sides.
So are those the jaw bones there?
Yeah.
I keep on finding bones and feathers.
I found.
I mean, this is.
Did I hear someone say feathers?
Yeah,
I found 8 pieces.
I said feathers. I keep on finding feathers. Fur.
Okay, so that's kind of exciting. So we actually kind of have a contest on who can find a bird skull in here. And the reason
I found a bird skull.
is, does it have a beak? We want to see a big orange beak if it's
Yes,
a
I
bird.
found that. I found it.
Very cool. So these generally come from zoos and places that care for injured animals, and they sell the pellets to teach people about the animals that they care for, but they always feed them the same thing, and they tend to be rodents, things with fur. So when you find one that has a bird skull in it, it means that a bird got into the cages that the owls were in and accidentally met one of those owls. So it's one of the few bits of natural food you'll find in a pellet. So another thing to look for is you're going through. So unfortunately, it's tough to get a good zoom, but you'll notice this little flat row of teeth right here and orange tooth at the front, which tells you for sure you have a rodent. So once you find a skull, look for those orange teeth on the bottom jaws. And if you have those, you know that you have a mouse or a vole, and that you don't have a mole or a shrew or some other non-rodent mammal.
I have no clue what this is.
This is all mine. I found a lot of bones and the bones fur or something like that.
Is that gray, the feather stuff you were saying?
Yeah.
Wow, it really does look like you got some bird in there.
Then look at mine.
What is your camera? Oh, I mean, oh. Ew, you're filling it.
No worries, just wash your hands when we're all done. And if it makes you feel any better, I'm down here with my bare hands because I just saw that big bit of skull and I said, yeah, I've got to get that.
Okay, pay attention what you're doing.
It's neat. You can see that spot at the back where the spine would have come
Grandma,
out.
Need another glove.
What is wrong with your face?
When I think I just found the top of a skull. Oh yeah, look at those rodent teeth.
When?
Hmm?
When? Ugh.
That's a good one. Has anyone found a hip bone yet? No one's found the little lacrosse stick?
A hip bone. I have no clue what that looks. What's this thing? What's that thing? What's this thing?
I think I have.
Hell, you can use your glove.
I don't know what this thing is.
Oh yeah, there it is. Someone found a lacrosse stick.
Is it this?
Oh, those might be teeth.
I think I found teeth.
Oh yeah. Robert.
That's a cross stick.
And the Myers got a hip too. We've got hip bones all around. So I'm the only one not finding a hip today.
I found a skull, but it's stuck in fur. I can't get
Is
it.
this another animal?
I found 2 skulls.
2
I found
skulls.
two skulls too.
Is it?
Yes, this is another skull.
Are they both rodents?
Eyes.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
they both have orange teeth.
Awesome.
Yeah, mine both have orange teeth too.
I love that that's what you're using to make the decision. I wish there was a way to show you better this tiny bone in my hand, but this strange thing that kind of looks like a puzzle piece is actually a bit of the spine, which is super fun. If you find enough of them, you can actually find the way they link up, but you need to find at least 10 of them.
This little one. Where's this one? I'm telling you, didn't get the.
I'm finding a lot of the rib cage.
Yeah, there's so many ribs, those really thin bones that it's hard to believe aren't digested or broken. There are tons of. And you can see why I said it's a huge.
I got another red one.
Yes, you did.
I found some kind of bone. Not sure what it is. Can't really show it.
Huh. Oh, it's got that thing on the side. That might be a shoulder blade, actually. It's hard for me to see, but look on your chart under rodent and look down under shoulder and see if it looks like a shoulder blade to you.
Didn't come in our folder.
We didn't get one of those things. We got folder, but
It's in the folder.
So it should look like that one. We'll just have a bunch of bones. If you don't have it, that's okay. We can just try and figure out what they are, but if you do, it'll help you out a bit.
I hope.
Wait, I think I found the hip. I think I found the hip.
Oh, what's this thing?
Which finger? That looks.
What is this thing? Wait,
Oh, you're turning it around?
yeah, I turned it around. What is this thing?
Ooh, I can't tell if that's a shoulder or a hip. I think you've got a hip there, though. Can you see a little hole?
Yeah.
Well, it'll be to the side, so you've got that nice big one, but there should be, if it's a hip, You want to look for that socket right there.
The head.
Yeah, I see that. I see that part. I see a part like that.
Nice. So I think we've got a hip, and that was a big head.
I've got 2 heads.
Anyone found more than 2?
I found 2 heads. That's a lot.
I found 2 heads too.
2 is pretty good. I actually had someone find 4 entire skulls once. I was shocked.
Whoa, that's a big.
Are these teeth? I'm guessing these are teeth.
I found a little claw.
So there'll be 2 things that look like teeth. I'll try and hold them up.
That's a tooth.
So this
That is-
front orange part is a tooth, and then that back.
Its face ripped off.
That's it. That's what he's holding right there.
You sure this is what he's holding?
That
Mhm.
flat
Yeah.
part right there that actually look like teeth are the molars and back. So rodents will have that row and back that are flat
Mhm.
that they use to grind things up, and then those long front ones. Oh yeah.
What's this one?
I think it's a back leg.
Okay.
Do you have the bone chart there?
I forgot to take it out.
Try holding that one by back leg under rodent and see if it lines up.
I lost it in my pile of bones.
Oh, I found another skull. I'm up to 2 skulls.
Did you take a picture of that?
I found another skull.
You sure did. That one is all full of fur. You're gonna have to pick a lot to get that visible.
It's so weird looking.
It's an oddball.
Is this poop?
This is, yeah, it's what the owl pooped out.
Ooh. I think I have a lot of bones.
Hmm.
Oh God! Oh God! I dropped the bone.
Phone's not doing it, is it? Oh, look at he's lining them all up.
You never know what you're gonna find in these. They kind of remind me of those bars of soap that have the little plastic toys in them. And as you wear the soap down, you keep finding more and more stuff in
You
it.
hold it like this so I can see what I find.
So you can see what you find?
No, sure.
Oh.
You wait. We could go like this. And look like that. Can you still see it?
Mhm.
Here, put your phone
Put
on.
your phone down.
Can you still see it?
Yeah, that's not stuff.
Um,
More jaws.
ooh. What's this thing?
What do you got?
Like the smallest piece of earth.
Hold it back a little bit.
No.
Oh,
You know, I can't tell. It looks pretty big though. Is it really thin? Could it be part of a skull?
Maybe.
yeah, put it on the paper.
Found 3 heads.
That's awesome.
Stop
I'm
them.
trying to get where it's not coming into focus though.
Yeah, I can't tell what that piece is. It's really large. I can't think what it. might be other than a piece of skull or like a broken part of hip bone.
We can tell they're really because me and Brennan both broke a little
Look at my skull.
of the skull.
Yeah, they're really easy to break apart. That part of the bone is just so soft on rodents.
Yeah, especially the bottom jaw.
Yeah, completely detached. And if you think about mice and how they can like
I
run
found
under those
another
little
head.
cracks, they need
Wow.
to be able to flatten their
I
skull.
got a third head.
She's on her third skull.
Well,
Lucky.
there are some great owl pellets. My actual old record was finding 3 skulls in a pellet, and I got 4 today, which I was pretty excited with.
What did he say? How many did
He
he
has
get?
4.
4.
1, 2, 3, 4. 2 of them are really small, but they're there and they're all top skulls. So that was one hungry owl.
I found another skull. I can see this.
I think this is a bone stuck in the head. Oh, okay.
Yeah, things kind of all get twisted together and
Brennan's already done. I'm not even close. I still have a lot. How much?
No, its mouth broke off.
If I go. Haley, can you please stop?
Did you take a picture of this
Oh.
one?
Yeah, look at the underside of it. That's like the other one that you were just uncovering.
This one?
Mhm.
Bottom of it?
No, the other side. I think that's like the. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I think I don't have a bird in here, but I only have a feather. I only have a feather of a bird. The rest is part.
Where's my capture?
even finding a feather is still pretty unique.
Did you take a picture of this one? You did?
I have a kind of thing.
This one? It's like, it's matte. It's like a
Yeah, I
broken
got
piece
that
of its matte.
Yeah, that's a tooth in the front there.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing you can try on your skulls, once you find a rodent and you have those orange teeth, sometimes the teeth are loose and you can actually get them to pull out of the skull. When you can, it's incredible because the teeth go all the way back into the eye. I'm trying to see if any of mine have that loose tooth. And I do. So on this skull, you could see, where's the camera, that much of the tooth sticking out. That's how much I was able to pull out.
Its brain fell off.
So for as much as you can see, there's at least twice as much more that goes back into the skull. It's worth just taking a
This one
look
doesn't
at.
have a teeth.
Very cool.
This one doesn't have even teeth.
One's got huge teeth.
I can move it.
This one's got the top and bottom.
This one's falling out. Kind of.
Oh, that just. Oh, look at. See, that one's got the.
It's neat when you find the bottom jaws still kind of attached. The lumps separate. Oh yeah, you got a tooth out. Isn't that incredible how big it is?
I broke its brain.
Doesn't need it anymore. Callie, easy.
Look.
Oh, they're very delicate.
Its head broke.
And part of the beauty of this activity, so my beeper just went off telling me we're about out of time, but is that you can really spend a ton of time going through these and trying to figure out what everything is. Is one end of that orange? Could it be a tooth?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is a tooth. So one of your teeth separated inside the owl pellet. So while it was
Yeah.
Yeah, mine separated too.
and I see a bottom jaw. So you can spend a ton of time going through an owl pellet and trying to figure out what everything is. You can try and put the skeletons together. I'm going to warn you guys, it is a very hard task. And on these,
Who's in here?
if you have more than one skull inside your pellet, I wouldn't try putting the whole skeleton together because there's going to be a whole lot of bones in there to deal with. So possibly save that one for the future. But just a reminder, you guys do have your snowy owl craft that you can do. If any adults in your life have maybe a birthday coming up, can make them a snowy owl and make their day. And you also have owl masks if you want to put one on and practice hooting like an owl. Does anyone remember the words that go along with the barred owl's call? Say who cooks for you? Who cooks for you all? If you can't remember that, that's fine, because all you have to remember is to copy owls when you hear them in the spring and summer to try to get them to talk back to you. So does anyone have any questions about owls?
I found another skull.
Very cool.
I found 2 skulls.
I found skulls.
We had a owl that flew into the side of my dad's truck, and it knocked out. But like 15 minutes later, it woke back.
That's a really tough.
He brought it inside and
Pooped it out.
started moving its head and hooting.
I had a similar experience in a pickup truck where the owl woke up inside the truck and we had to stop very quick and leave in a panic.
My dad, as he was driving down the road, an owl flew right into his windshield and fell in the back of his truck.
Oh, weird. It's a handy spot to land, huh?
Cool.
You sure do.
This is really weird doing this, but it's actually really fun.
Wait, what do we do with all these bones?
Yeah.
So that is entirely up to you. When you're done, I did give you guys these nice non-plastic wax paper bags that you can use to store bones in. If you want to keep them, you can put them back in there and, you know, try to put them together at a later date. Have a little collection of your rodent bones to study. If you don't want to keep them, just take the bone and put it right in the trash.
Cool.
So it's up to you. If you want to save them, find a container, use the bag I gave you, or just throw them out when you're done. And I did talk with the Myers a bit about finding owl pellets outside. And you can find them under dead trees. I would tell you guys that if you find one in the wild, it'd be really important to wear gloves and to wash your hands afterwards. Remember that these are sterile pellets so that there's no bacteria or disease. Believe it or not, our hands are clean, even though we might feel a little funky because let's face it, we just touched dead mice that were inside an owl's stomach. It's kind of gross and kind of cool and awesome at the same time. You know, we really got in there. So I want to thank you guys for joining me and for doing Owl Pellets with me. If you could do me one favor, I would ask that each one of you at some time during the next year, try to start an argument with an owl when you're outside. I know it's a tall ask, but I want you guys to become owl instigators like me. Remember, don't tease them too much when they're having kids though. You don't want to mess with parent owls. Never a good idea, messing with parents. All right, guys. Thanks so much for being here. I'm about to sign off unless there's any other questions or comments. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the week off and enjoy the upcoming sessions.